Welcome to Malcolm Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed, joined by my lovely and talented wife, Miss Southern Shell, on this side of the table with me because we got a special guest, Shell.
Mark Williams from Swine Life Barbecue.
All right.
That's big words calling a special guest.
One of our favorite regular guests, I should say. You just need to make you a regular on here, Mark. You've probably been on here more than anybody.
Try to.
But the reason why we're having you on is because me and you did the thing.
You did something.
We did something.
Did something serious.
Yeah. We cooked probably, no joke, the absolute best piece of beef I've probably ever tried. As a whole, from tenderness to flavor to texture to just everything, it checked every single box.
It done it. That was one of them game changers. That's like one of them things you'll never forget.
Once in a lifetime. I hope I get to cook another one of those. But our buddy Kevin down at the Butcher Shoppe in Pensacola, Florida. Y'all hear me talk about him all the time. Best butcher in the world. He gets that A9 brisket. He's home with an A9 brisket. Probably ships them to every state, or anybody cooking barbecues probably, cooked one of his briskets. If you hadn't, you're missing the boat. But we told him, we got the idea. When did we get the idea to do this?
It's been a while ago.
It was back to summer.
It might have been before
when we done
that.
the comedy show. Because that's when we cooked that whole prime rib. Yeah.
That's right. We cooked the whole prime rib. We had Meet Dave come out and do a comedy show.
Dave Williamson.
We said we were going to see if it was possible if Kevin could get us a whole Wagyu A9 prime rib or rib loin. And it was nothing for him. He's like, yeah, I got them. Because I guess he cuts steaks out of them all the time and sells steaks. I'm sure not very many people buy it as the whole primal cut. But what was the price? Do y'all remember the price tag? Did you get a picture of it?
$637.
It's not that bad.
It was not that bad.
I
was expecting like $1,500.
So, yeah, you say that.
Christmas. A lot of people.
Hope you spend more than that on me, Shell.
Well, you say that. So back in the summer, when we were buying those prime ribs to cook for that show at Sam's Club, we paid $300 for one just for a choice. That's how expensive beef got. So for this, to be able to cook Wagyu for...
I would do it again and not like feel guilty. Like yes, it's a lot of money, but that's something that, man.
I'm not going to do it every month.
No.
Once
a year, I'm down with.
$637.37. Does it say what it was per pound?
Yeah, $4.99. $49.99.
Ooh, $50 a pound.
Don't look at it that way. Don't look at it that way.
$50 a pound. It was 12 3/4 pounds. Is that what it was?
Yeah, 12.75.
Of just pure, unadulterated.
This is the way I look at it.
Marbled beef.
We talk about that being expensive price per pound.
Yeah.
What do you think we spend on deer meat?
Oh, there's no telling.
There's $1,000 a pound there. I mean,
Easy.
Wagyu, don't worry about it.
Or duck. What do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, we're not going there. Hey, look at dove this past summer.
Man, I spent, pound for pound, dove's probably the most expensive meat there is. We put a lot of money in them dove fields.
So before we get too deep talking about prime rib, there's a few things I wanted to cover first. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes. This is for, if you're listening to podcasts, we appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast channel, I know a lot of people subscribe to How to Barbecue Right main channel where we do all the recipe videos. But if you want to get notifications and alerts, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast channel if you're watching this video.
On YouTube.
On YouTube, because it'll let you know when these videos come out for the weekly podcast. So that's all the housekeeping I had.
Yeah, that's all the housekeeping.
Simple.
How was y'all's Thanksgiving?
Epic.
Good.
Epic. It kicks off deer hunting season for me in Mississippi. So we got the deer camp this year, Mark. We had a big time down there. Opening weekend and cooking and eating and all the good stuff that goes to that and shooting a few deer. Mark got him he got one of the bucks that we had on a hit list to get this year. Mark got him.
You want to hear that story?
Yeah. Listen to the Buck Junkie podcast. We talk all about that.
But
what was the favorite thing you ate this Thanksgiving?
Oh, man.
And it doesn't have to be like on your Thanksgiving meal. It could be anytime during the
So I cooked, I don't know how many turkeys did I cook leading up to Thanksgiving?
The Monday of Thanksgiving week, we cooked
11.
11.
11 that day. But we did 2 or 3 whole turkey videos. We'd cook some more turkey. I was turkeyed out. For our family Thanksgiving, I cooked turkey breast. Just
it was so good.
Once again, thanks Kevin. He gets the giant Texas-sized turkey breast. And, man, you can't beat them. A whole turkey just can't even contend with this thing. I don't know if it's just because it's a homegrown turkey, wherever he gets them from. I don't really know. It's not like you're going to Butterball and get these turkey breasts, but they are good.
But they show up with skin on.
Yeah, it's skin on boneless turkey roast is what it says. And there's 2 of them in a cravate pack. And they weigh about 8 pounds each. The pack's usually 15, 16 pounds.
What size turkey did they come off?
A monster. If you got 2 breasts like that on a turkey, you're talking.
It's 20 pounds.
He's
40-pound bird.
Just the breast are 15, 16 pounds are cutting off these animals.
That's borderline dinosaur.
Yeah, he's a monster.
I will say, like, I cooked one of the best bone-in turkey breasts, like a butterball. I cooked one of the best ones I ever cooked this year. Pulled the skin off of it. But we got down to camp, and I ate that leftover breast you cooked.
It was cold, not even warmed up.
It was so delicious.
It was really good.
Man, I made a sandwich. God,
we ate a whole one. We ate a whole one just at camp. Because I cooked 2. I only took one of my parents because we don't have a big family. There was, 6, 7 of us there eating lunch. So I did a ham, which I love doing, a spiral ham for Thanksgiving. That's my jam. Ham and rolls.
Normally,
hot rolls out of the oven.
Your smoked ham is my favorite over the smoked turkey. But this year, that turkey breast.
Yeah. The turkey breast outshined.
How'd you cook it? What'd you do to it?
The ham or the turkey breast?
Turkey breast.
Man, I called Mark and I said, man, when you dry brine that, what was the things you used? And you told me you said you used to use grit and grind.
Grit and grind.
Combo. Well, I didn't have any grit. All I had was grind. So I used AP, and then I went pretty good dose of AP and put grind on top and then just put it back in the refrigerator overnight. It probably sat in there, I don't know, at least 16 hours.
Dry brine.
And it pulled some moisture out. I ain't gonna lie, there's a lot of moisture in there. But it made the texture on the outside, even though you take the skin off, it gets a little crust on it. And people will think that's skin that you've got crusted up and crunchy like that. It's not. That's just that outer texture. But that's all. I didn't inject it. I put it on the Traeger, and it took a little longer than you would think it did. It was like right at 2 hours, 45 minutes, almost, going on 3 hours to get to about 100. I take it to 160. Wrap it up in full. So after I seasoned it, I put it on the pit. It was going 275. Stuck a probe in it, and then once it gets to about 135, 140, I took it off and doubled up some full. Took a stick of butter, cut it long ways, laid it over the top, and wrapped it up super tight as I could get it, and then put the probe back in it. Took it to 160, and then took it off and not unwrap it and vent it. Just stick it in a dry cooler and took it to my folks' house and carved it there. And that dude was so juicy and moist.
So
that's similar to your TX turkey breast.
Pretty much, except I just used grind and.
Yeah.
What I've noticed most about dry brine is I feel like you get more flavor in it. I think with the wet brine, you might get a little bit more moisture. Yeah. But on that dry brine, to me, that turkey breast you had tastes just like the best deli slice.
It kind of did, didn't it? It's like maybe it was infused with flavor.
It's the best turkey to ever make a sandwich with.
Yeah. It's better today. It's better the day or two after.
I ate some this week. It was still some down the camp fridge when we stopped by, and I was like,
we were putting up some
that.
other deer stands, and he said, I'm going to grab a bite before I get out of here.
One more turkey for the year.
One more. That was it. I'm probably done with turkey now.
Do you have a theory as to why the dry brine and you think gives more flavor than the wet dry?
I think because you're getting the salt in your AP is going to make that whatever effect. It sweats out and it pulls that back in. I think having that salt directly on that turkey breast, it has no choice but to get a little bit more flavor.
I think you get more season coverage too.
Yeah.
So regular brine, you're dissolving it and you're trying to get it in there, but it's kind of going to neutral. This one, we're putting a heavy dose on it, and it's not overly salty or anything.
No.
But the flavor just penetrates it.
I think if you do a wet brine, by the time you put enough salt in a wet brine to get that same flavor, it's going to be salty on you.
Yeah.
I think. I think you still get great moisture with a wet brine, but I think the simplicity of a dry brine, it's hard to beat.
And I wouldn't go you don't have to do it as long either. I mean, just quick overnight, or it don't have to be 24 hours like a big,
Could you do that with a bone-in turkey?
Yeah. There's people dry brine them.
I have. I've done it with the
You do
the
it
bone
on
in
the
breast.
skin?
No, I pull the skin
off?
back.
So I was saying, pull it back and then put the seasoning under the skin and do it. Have you ever tried it on top of the skin?
Yeah, that's how I done these this year.
Yeah.
Or not on top, sorry, skinless is what I done this year. But I don't.
You skinned a whole turkey this year, didn't you? Like took all the skin off a whole turkey.
Everything. The only thing I left skin on was the wings, just because that was a fiasco.
Yeah.
You can't skin a wing.
No. But everything else
happening.
come off. So I done that video where it was skin off whole. Yeah, spatchcocked it, skin off everything but the wings, and it done just like you said. It had that bark, and you never would have known skin was not on it. So this year for our Thanksgiving, I done the bone-in breast, skinned them off, cleaned them up real good, done the same thing, AP or grit and grind, let it go for a few hours, sweat it out, put it on there, and right at the end, I started basting it with butter once it started getting color, and man, it looked like just barbecue, you know.
Did you just spatchcock it, just the bone and
The breast, yeah.
Just cut the backbone out?
I cut everything out but the sternum.
Oh, really?
Like I cut the ribs out, I do everything. And
so you can get that meat underneath, right?
You get seasoning all the way around, and when you cut it off, so I'll kind of fillet that whole breast off and then lay it on the cutting board and cut it across the grain, and you get rub 80% all the way around coverage, you know. And everybody that had it went to Emily's parents, and we had some new people, his neighbor and stuff, come down, and they're like, man, this is the best skin I've ever had on a turkey. And I was like, because it ain't none on it, you know.
So you left the keel bone, you left all that in.
Mm-hmm. Right there at the sternum and the backbone, I guess, or breastplate bone.
Cut the rest off.
Cut the ribs and everything off, and it presents better. It lays well on the pit. You know,
when you carve it, do you split it in half and then carve it on the rest of the bone?
You just cut it straight down, like you follow that breastbone and just whoop,
and then cut it across the breast into slices.
It was good. And of course, I injected it with a little bit of Kerrygold. You know, you gotta have the Kerrygold.
That makes it good. The best thing that I probably had, I think we asked our family that. I know me and you, Michael, talked about it, but mine was probably the sweet potato casserole you did.
I can make a
You did a deep one this year, and it had you made a smaller one because my mom said don't bring too much. We didn't want leftovers for days, and this one had that pecan, almost like a praline crust, about 1.5 inches almost thick, and that's my favorite part of sweet potato casserole.
That's why you liked it.
Man, every bite you got some of that crunchy pecan, brown sugar butter topping in it.
But I browned the butter that I put in the top.
And there was extra butter in the sweet potatoes. It wasn't just some old packy cut it out sweet potatoes.
I might need to see that before Christmas.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You got to add a little cayenne and a little
good.
salt to the sweet potatoes too. Give it that balance, bring up that.
So
that
Emily
flavor.
does her sweet potato pie, and she's done a video on our channel.
Yeah,
and
I've watched it.
She put the cayenne pepper in it. Well, this year she done little miniature bites and put them in homemade phyllo cups. I think that's what you call them.
Yeah.
She rolled out some crescent roll, and then made the little bowls and spooned it in and put a marshmallow on each one. Your favorite, you know.
Yeah.
But they were so good.
Oh,
but
I bet that was good. So everybody had an individual little bite.
So I ate one, and I was like, she might have got a little heavy with cayenne, you know. Well, my grandmother gets over and she throws about 3 of them back, and she's like, I don't know what I done ate, but something spicy.
Oh, grandma's gonna find it.
Yeah, she was on it, you know. But it was good. But probably my best bite, grits and greens. Emily's mom was
man,
grits
you told
and greens.
me about that. I want that recipe. I got to try that.
It's so good.
Shell never heard of it, have you?
Mm-mm.
It's like she got
Is it like shrimp and grits, but
it's like a
greens and
casserole,
grits?
but kind of, yeah. So
cut it out.
Casserole.
yeah, it's thick. I mean, it's got a
Gotta be a
lot of
casserole.
cheese. But she used the grits from the store, cooked them down, and then she does, of course, turnip greens and 3 or 4 different cheeses, and seasoned it up good with some AP, and it's just.
Is it a spoon out or is it kind of cut out?
It's a spoon out.
Yeah.
It's not thick like a dressing, but it's a casserole. But man,
And you know how good that would be for New Year's, and then do a pulled ham, or just a butt.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
just a salted butt, not barbecue style, and serve that over the top once you plate it up. God, you got to do that with the little pepper sauce too to drizzle over it. Oh, I'm doing that.
I just typed in grits and greens casserole, and something came up, and it had little pieces of bacon on the top.
she uses bacon grease.
Oh
She
yeah,
does.
Yeah, that's it. That's the recipe.
dude. When I love grits, I always take crumbled up bacon and I catch the bacon drippings, keep it warm, and when I put the grits on the plate and crumble bacon, I spoon just like a teaspoon of that bacon dripping, the grease all over it, and it mixes so good with grits. Those are just regular yellow grits, no cheese.
That's what kills me about Thanksgiving. I love turkey and ham, and it's really good. Man, I love the
The
sides.
sides are where it's at for me. It's casserole day. we need to. I could be. That's a new holiday we need to start. Casserole
Day.
Yeah,
It's
I'd like to
National
know
Casserole Day.
National Casserole Day.
how many
You don't have
9
to
by
have main
13
dishes.
pans
Can you
are on
get-
table.
You
at
can ask
Thanksgiving?
she throws them away. She goes behind me and gets rid of casserole dishes. Because if it was up to me, we'd have one cabinet that was nothing but, and it got that bad, didn't it? I mean, we had a glass casserole dish because I think
we
you should
got-
have.
When we got married, you registered like 6 of them.
She's like, "What do we need 6 casserole?" I said, "We're gonna need 6 casserole dishes."
Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah. What do you think we're gonna do on Thanksgiving?
No,
I mean, green bean casserole, sweet potato casserole, hash brown casserole, now grits and green casserole,
corn casserole.
corn casserole. The dressing goes in a casserole dish. That's 6 right there. You got to have a different one for all those. We ain't a limit. Mac and cheese. That's 7. You need the dirty dozen casserole dishes. That needs to be the Malcolm collection. The dirty dozen. It's just casserole dishes.
It's multiple sizes.
Yeah, multiple sizes and
Some are
tops
deep,
for
some
'em.
are shallow. But now it's Christmas time. It's time.
I do got to say thank you, Shell, before we keep going. You made after Thanksgiving, we went down to our hunting house, and for the egg bowl, and you made me the husband's delight that I love, and I guess that's what everybody knows. I've known it as a yum yum cake.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, better than Jergens cake.
Yeah,
Better than the Jergens.
That's what we told Will it was.
Did he get it?
I think you did.
But I thank you for that. It was delicious, and we enjoyed it at deer camp.
We did.
That's it's the dessert. It's got like a
It's dirt that keeps on giving.
a pecan bottom, and then it's got like a
Cream
cream
cheese.
cheese mixture filling, and then a chocolate filling, and then you top it with whipped
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. Yeah.
And then you shave little chocolate shavings over the top.
Yeah, I think I ate it at about 11 o'clock one night. It was delicious.
But yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You always complain I don't cook you
I know.
that dessert. But now it's Christmas time.
It is.
Time to
Snuck up
turn
on us.
for Christmas, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas around here.
We have, if you're in the area, you want to get a picture with Santa Claus, he may show up here tomorrow.
The man
No.
himself.
No, Saturday.
Saturday.
Saturday, not tomorrow. Saturday. Oh, this is coming
Saturday.
out Friday, right? So it will be tomorrow. So from what time, Tyler? Is Santa Claus going to be here?
It's 10 a.m. Central Standard Time to 1.
That's how long we have
p.m.
the suit anyway.
And we've got a petting zoo.
Snow
Thank
machine.
Chef for that.
And a
There
snow
may or may
machine.
not be a llama, some goats.
There's going to be a llama. He may or may not be wearing a Santa hat.
What else? What else is going to be involved in the animals? I don't even know if what's legal in Hernando just to have these animals out
Yes,
there.
it is. It's a petting zoo.
What are you gonna?
Completely legal. Like, we're paying someone good money to bring these animals, have them doped up.
If you would have thought about it, you could have put a manger scene out there, and we could have put the animals out there and had like a living nativity.
with chickens.
We need a good mule, what we need.
You need a donkey.
Yeah.
You need a donkey and a
Oh, you
camel.
get a donkey out there hollering at us. That'd be good.
And we also have a new How to Barbecue Right family photo.
Oh,
Oh man, yeah, that's a good one. Have you posted that anywhere?
It's on my Instagram.
yeah.
If you haven't seen that, go to Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and check out the drawing of.
see if you can name everybody.
Yeah, if you can figure everybody out.
The guy that looks homeless, that's me.
You look like a mechanic. It's like Mark's been working on cars and coming.
You're even wearing gloves too.
Yeah, what's up?
What?
Yeah, in the picture. Have
Why
you
do
not
I have
noticed
gloves
that?
on?
I guess
You
the
didn't mark it
artist
on me.
was using a picture of you wearing like black.
Gloves. Or
Gloves.
That's not creepy at all. I'm the only guy on this whole. I did not. I got to go look now.
Mikey's the one that got his feelings hurt.
Mine's scary. Like, he got it so photo accurate
I know.
with the cartoon.
Who would have knew? Tyler looked just like the cartoon.
He looks like a who.
You and Austin are like,
I think mine's kind of accurate too. You know,
Mine,
some of
I
us
don't know.
just are more
My eyes
who-like.
my eyes
I
that
guess.
tight all the time.
they're pretty tight right now. Oh, Mikey looks like he's going to be on next season's 600-pound life.
He was very
He
upset.
looked like Santa Claus. He was just all gray, bushy beard.
Tell Malcolm he looks like.
Mikey said, "Who is that? That ain't me."
I said it looks like if Santa had to get a part-time job working on cars.
Yeah.
That's what Mikey's looks like.
Jamie looks like he ought to be riding a West Coast chopper to work with his old beard or goatee or whatever that is.
West Coast job.
Good stuff.
That's pretty good. No, that drawing's good. We're having a decorate your office door contest. And some people have went really far out after it. Tyler, have you done yours yet?
No, it's coming.
Okay.
I'm waiting on like 2 more things.
You were waiting on everybody else to see the competition? Well, you got your work cut out for you.
I'm glad.
All I have to say is mine is electric.
yours requires
it plays
batteries.
music and it requires batteries.
We also have a new grill cleaner, and we're doing a competition on the community page for the Dirtiest grill. You have a picture of the Dirtiest grill.
Has anybody started submitting yet?
Yeah, there's been a few, but they're not that dirty.
How dirty is Betty? That's always a good one.
She's clean.
Oh, is she? Yeah.
I guarantee you, Jamie's pellet grill will win.
Oh,
that.
it will win. You need to come over there and get a picture of it and submit it randomly.
Man, it's so bad.
Just do it randomly.
He said, it ain't that bad. I just cooked some with barbecue sauce. I'm like, did you cook lard or like what else is on here?
He put a whole gallon on it.
You left
Let
your
it
pork
bake
chops on here or what?
Yeah.
No, it's bad. They say, oh,
Man, that'll test your grill there, though. Glaze some pork chops heavy on there, real high heat, and see what it does.
it's bad.
It gets real. It turns it to like hard sugar tar.
His has done started making a noise. Like
It's built up.
it needs to be getting
It
clean.
needs
good.
overhaul. It needs deep clean. How's that going? So you're submitting a picture of your grill, and then you have to clean it and then show us the before after,
No,
or
the Dirtiest grill wins. If the 20 Dirtiest grills win
a bottle of cleaner.
Yeah,
and then somebody's getting a gift card to the shop or something.
Yep, for that.
Is this local only, or is this
No,
like,
it's community.
nationwide?
I fully expect that people are gonna like
Lower 50.
absolutely demolish their grills for this, or like cook something messy and take a picture afterwards. But I hope the Dirtiest one is like just disgusting. Like that's my hope.
Oh, these ain't even that bad
That's what
dirty.
I said.
No, if anybody's got a backwoods, just cook something in it, fill it with water, and shut the door. Let it get up to about 70 degrees outside. Go back a week later.
You'll be picking tomatoes out of that
It'll
grass.
be molded. And it'll puke you when you open it. I've been there.
Like this, that's not dirty.
That's what I said. That's not
Like I can still see the
clean.
round bar grates. Like
You just
yours.
got seasoning on that one, huh?
That was good for another 5 or 6 butts.
Cook the exotic entry on the PK
What's-
on grill grades at Memphis.
What's the dirtiest you've ever gotten your grill?
Mine,
Yeah.
I've never had one just
dirtiest?
get just terrible. I
Disgusting.
mean, yeah, not bad. Now the worst I've seen is we cooked a fundraiser for 4th of July, and I think we ended up cooking 396 butts on our old rotisserie. And like that last day, like we were that far from like as the rotisserie came out, it's finna baste them in the bottom.
Self-based.
I was like, we got to drain this. Now I have seen some of Mr. Malcolm Reed's himself. So I have seen some pretty good ones.
I have too. I've
That
cleaned
old,
some
that old
pretty good
hickory
ones.
got pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Old trailer before an old red trailer.
Which one? The old hickory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember somebody.
I'm not proud of it. That's why I came out with the grill cleaner.
It was one time we were going
It's
to do.
easy to say keep your grill clean. It's another one to do it.
I don't know what we were doing. If we were doing a practice or what. You were like, yeah, go out there and fire up that old hickory, and we might have to clean it out a little bit. I think Mojo was there with us, and I go out there and open it. I'm like, we're cooking on this. Like, no, we're not. Oh, it was
You know
bad.
he was hoping you would clean
Yeah. Oh, I did. I had
You
to.
had to.
That's how I earn my rank, I guess. I hope I'm above that, but I feel like I'm really not.
You hadn't cleaned one in a long time if it wasn't for video.
Yeah, most of it's for video.
There was. I thought you were going to tell the story about the time that I left pulled pork in the oven at the
That's
shrine.
Shriners.
No, so you wasn't 100% guilty for that. That
No, that
was
was Shane.
Shane Rickett.
He was supposed to take that home with him.
So
So-
the pan of pulled pork that was left
As
over.
far as we
from an
knew,
event.
everything had been gotten out.
Yeah.
So we done that class, what, like end of January?
Yeah, it was still cold.
So we done a class. It was Malcolm and I think Mark Lambert. It was the barbecue live class.
Yeah.
And we rented this place out and done the class, cleaned up, good to go, went home. So that was in January. Well, in March, me and Jamie had to do a Wild Turkey Federation like banquet deal. So we cooked, and so we brought everything in. We had everything cooked. We were gonna like pop something in the oven, or I can't remember if we were gonna use the oven. Walked in the kitchen. I was like, something has died. Like something is terribly just rancid in here. Couldn't figure it out. When I walked by the stove, I was like, oh, it's in there. And I was like, did not expect nothing that I recognized. And I opened it up, and it was a regular size stove. So, I mean, it had 2 racks. You could put 2 full pans in it. And it had molded to the size of that stove, just funk. And I opened it up, I was like, whoop. and closed
Have
it.
a foil over it?
Yeah, it's like we're growing outside the foil. Like the foil had done been
my
ate.
That was a
God.
science experiment.
It was
there.
bad. And I told Jamie, I was like, it's in the oven. And I was like, it's barbecue from the class. And I was like, that was 2 months ago. Oh, it was
Did
so
y'all
bad.
throw it away? Like,
Yeah,
throw it
Jamie
out?
did. Jamie put gloves on and come running out the door with it.
Put it in the old dumpster.
I didn't want people to think it was something we were
Yeah,
cooking.
you smell
Because, I mean, it was strong.
Did you at least turn the oven on? Put on something?
Heck no, it could have blew up. Like, it was bad.
Did you take a picture?
No.
Oh.
It was bad.
That's been some years ago too.
I called you that moment. I was like,
Yeah.
what did you do?
It's like I didn't do it.
That
That was not our fault. That was not our fault.
we cleaned up everything else.
Yeah. I mean, somebody was supposed to take that pan of meat with them home.
But I will say, we cooked them butts. It still looked moist and moist.
That's how good it is. 3 months later, mold or not,
Still moist.
still moist. Different kind of moist,
It was
but it
bad.
had moisture in it.
I was pretty proud of that. That would have held up good in a turn-in box.
Now, you already talked about that prime rib.
Oh man, that prime rib. I wish I had some of it right now.
I know.
So good.
We were looking over the video this morning. I was like, man, that still looks so good. Like,
It was a perfect cook. So we knew we were going to cook it on a stick burner. That was one of the stipulations when we talked about doing it. And the other was we were going to keep it pretty simple. We wanted the meat to shine. And so we didn't do a whole lot to it.
No.
I mean, it weighed 12 3/4 pounds. What do you think we trimmed off? Maybe 3/4 pounds? You think
Yeah,
it was still 12 pounds?
and it wasn't like what we trimmed off. I look back at the video too. Like what was trimmed off was not good fat. I mean, it was that fat that still had some silver skin on it,
Yeah.
just from the natural butcher process, like removing that.
Yep.
So, I mean, everything
It
that,
didn't have a tail on it.
no, it didn't have
It
a
was in a
tail.
cryovac bag, no tail.
And see, I
Lip
like
off,
that.
I guess they say. Yeah, because it was all pure meat.
If you check the video out in one clip, you can see the pan of trimmings on the pit.
It did
beside
not
the
go to
mushrooms.
No, we cooked all those trimmings down.
We had some beef rinds, is what I'd call that.
yeah, little
They're pretty
niblets.
good.
They were.
They were really good. Seasoned them up, let them render down. You had all that tallow in there, and it was just
Did you save that tallow?
I did. It's actually in a mason jar in the fridge right now. So, I actually used some for some eggs the other day, and it was quite delicious.
really
What do you mean some eggs?
I put a little oil in my skillet before I fried my egg.
Oh, really?
beef tallow egg
Did it give you like a beefy flavor?
You just got like a
richness.
richness. It really wasn't. You didn't pick up on a lot. I mean, but
About how much did you put in there? Just like,
a tablespoon.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was good. I always try to save, like, we always joke about, hey, we're going to save this for later. And 99% of the time, I try to. I mean, sometimes you're just like, it'd be
It's
all
time,
right.
throw it away. Let's go.
But
You know?
beef fat, I'm most likely going to keep
yeah,
either
'cause
for
it keeps so good in the fridge.
deer meat, anything like that.
Yeah,
Or if you just want to make some extra greasy burgers, grind it up in there.
I've done that before.
They're good burgers, but they hurt. They hurt.
No, we did Wagyu trimming, brisket trimming, saved them all. And my plan was to mix it in with some other ground
like some
beef.
regular chuck.
Yeah. But that didn't happen. I ended up making a bunch of burgers with just that.
Brisket trimming burgers, and
Yeah.
they cook down about 50%, if not if 60, 65, maybe 70%. Go dissolves, and all you get is just this
Little
small
morsel.
hamburger.
And they
It's
will start a fire in a Traeger. If
You
try to cook
cannot.
it.
Oh yeah, you can't do that on a tray here. You can't do it on belly grill. There's so much grease coming out.
That's a
of it.
skillet cook.
It
It
is.
definitely is. It definitely is. Don't do it on a Weber because it's instant fire. But you cannot overcook those burgers.
That's-
There's no way. You can cook them to 190 degrees and they're still just melting in your mouth.
That's our next one.
What's that?
Let's
Wagyu
take-
burger.
Let's do a Wagyu burger, do it in a cast iron skillet, but put enough tallow in there to where it's like a Dyer burger,
Dyer's. Oh,
where you just.
that would be
Now,
good.
granted, I mean, I just want a bite.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm eating it. Triple stack.
Yeah. All right.
Gosh.
Shell rub me. I'm hurting.
Spat on it.
Yeah. Had to put a cold rag on your forehead. Oh, that's the worst feeling in the world.
For those that don't know, a Dyer's burger is a Memphis thing where they've had the same grease that they fry their burgers in for 50 years.
Over longer than that, I think.
When they move restaurants, they put it in an armored car
Move the grease.
and move the grease. So,
But
I've
they
had-
fry them, right?
yeah, it's
They
like
deep fried
yeah, it's like
burgers.
deep fried.
It's not really deep fried. It's only a few inches. I mean, would you say it's deep fried or just fat fried?
I want to say what I saw them do. They put them in a basket and they drop them in a
Yeah.
vat.
Okay.
But I may be completely wrong. But it's completely covered.
Yeah.
Something for us to find out.
Yeah. We need a road
Take a
trip.
trip.
Road trip. Party bus.
Best burgers in Memphis. Let's go.
Nope.
Tyler's out.
No alcohol this time.
So, would y'all say that is a standing prime rib roast?
No.
No.
What is a standing prime rib?
It's on the bone.
You leave it on
bones
the bone.
up. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I call standing rib roast. No, this was just a boneless beef loin.
So,
That's exactly what it was. Lip off, and it was A9 Australian Wagyu. This isn't the Japanese A5. It's so marbled it just looks like fat.
yeah.
I really personally, if I'm gonna eat that kind of Wagyu, I like the Australian Wagyu.
Australian blows the Japanese out of the water.
For me,
That's
because you can't eat the Japanese.
No.
It's
And
fine
it
to
don't
get a
taste
bite
like
of
meat.
It ain't. It's like bone marrow in steak form is what it tastes.
Now, I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like one bite is delicious.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna eat a steak, I'll pick an Australian.
Or a
any
piece
day.
of that prime rib.
Mhm.
Or some brisket. I can't imagine what one of those real Japanese A5 briskets would be like.
I
It'd
saw
just be
someone
fat.
comment that it would have been about $6,500.
No. Oh, a Japanese one?
Yeah.
Probably,
Oh, probably
so.
so.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like $129 a pound. Last time I seen it.
129?
Mhm.
So it wouldn't have been, that'd have been $12.99 for 10 and another
It'd be double,
300. Yeah.
triple the cost basically. Almost
Yeah.
$2,000.
Been pretty high.
So, I have a question. Does it have to be prime to be a prime rib? There's always a debate
No,
about
no.
that.
Prime rib is the preparation,
What do you mean by preparation?
how you cook it.
Okay.
What that rib roast turns into, also known as prime rib. Served that way, cooked roasted. Most often they do it in an oven, jack the temperature up, then lower it, and it makes that crust on the outside, and they cook it to where it's, rare, and they slice it off and serve it with an au jus and horseradish. I like doing them smoked better.
Yeah.
I think they taste so much better. You'll never cook one in the oven again once you do one on a smoker. It develops so much more flavor. You get the smoke penetration. To me, a prime rib can be really, really bland, especially cooked in the oven.
Yeah.
You only get seasoning on the outside of it, so you need something else like the smoke to help it penetrate the meat, give it some more flavor down in it. And this prime rib still was pretty neutral on the inside.
It was just a very rich.
Beefy flavor.
And it melted.
Yeah. It
That
melted
was-
in your mouth.
That was as soon as I
texture.
cut into it. Like as soon as I touched a knife, and I was like, "Ooh,
It just
like
felt
this
so
just
good.
this feels so good."
Yeah. It's like you weren't even slicing anything.
Yeah,
right?
no, it wasn't. And it's one of them things. Like to me, like if I was going to sit down and fix that as a plate, you got to have a little bit of au jus on the side, just something to complement that beef. And a little salt never hurt. That's one thing you cannot get enough salt on the prime rib.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that's all, and that's pretty much all we did. We hit it with the prime beef first,
Yeah.
which is salt-based rub. It's just beefed up. It's got a bunch of good flavors in it. You can tell us about that.
It's nothing like it. I mean, honestly, it's not. Like I've had everybody's like, "Well, what's the difference in grit and prime beef?" A lot. I mean,
Oh yeah,
they started out pretty much the same recipe, but prime beef has its unique flavor.
it's not gritty.
It's not gritty,
Prime,
Smooth.
and
that's I think it's a really good rub.
Has
I
like
use it
that
a lot.
umami, mushroomy flavor to it.
it's got a lot of that.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's just
But
something
it has
different.
the salt, the pepper, the herbiness.
the
I
garlic.
use it
yeah,
on
the
vegetables a lot. I like
It's
it on
just
vegetables.
on some zucchini.
Yeah.
It's very
You
good.
got to be careful that it'll get a little spicy.
It'll get spicy.
oh, it has some heat to it. Is that from the finer grain pepper? I guess.
So no, we
it
actually
don't have cayenne in it, does it?
it does.
Oh,
So that's kind of like the backstory to the prime beef. It was an accident. I'm not scared to say this. It's one of them deals. We were just toying with new rubs, and good buddy our Brian, son of a butcher, he's been running grit, and he was adding more heat to it. And I was like, man, I like that. Like it just added a different flavor. But when we were trying to mass produce that and deal with a co-packer, it was just salt and heat. There was no body to the flavor. It was just salt and heat.
you didn't set out to make a beef rub.
No.
You set out to make a hot
A hot,
version of
yeah.
grit.
I wanted something spicy. I wanted a true hot rub.
because we were
I
putting
remember that now.
we were putting extra heat on ribeye steaks.
Yep.
In steak contest.
So it was just kind of one of them deals. And I, met with our guy, our co-packer was like, look, it's missing something. And I was like, do you have anything that would add flavor? And he's like, well, we could add like beef stock. And I was like, nah, I want something that's just different. So he sent me a whole bunch of samples. Matter of fact, you got some back there too. And we started toying with the mushroom powder, and I fell in love. I mean, it was something that
Different.
when you taste it, you're like, you can't pick up on what it is, but it's just like, like it mellows out and it's good. And
it was made for prime rib. I'm telling you, any kind of beef cooked low and slow like that, brisket, prime rib, let it sit on a steak as a dry brine. I mean,
and you'll notice it, like tasting out of the shaker, you won't really notice it as much. You'll smell it, but as soon as you let that rub hit something that's wet on the outside of a steak, it instantly smell
gets that
it.
tongue going. It starts pulling moisture in your mouth big time.
It might have a little MSG in it.
A little MSG, little wake 'em up.
Yeah,
The best ones.
Best ones do.
So why do you tie that prime rib?
To hold its shape. So after we trimmed it lightly, and then we tied it up with butcher twine. And if you don't, it's going to kind of flatten out, spread out some, and it wants to cook uneven. Like the spinalis can separate from it. Part of it, can kind of where the fat renders can detach.
Just kind of like a ribeye would. On the grill.
Yeah. So if you just put a few, you don't have to get crazy with it, and we're not trussing it or anything. It's just we just cut some lengths of twine and tied individual knots all the way down it to hold its shape.
Oh, kindergarten knot.
Yeah, kindergarten knots. And then we seasoned it, and after the prime beef, I just wanted something with some texture, so I used some TX. It's the coarse salt, coarse pepper, a little bit of herbs that doesn't melt, kind of makes a crust, and that's all we put on it. But we did bind it. We used a binder of just Worcestershire.
And I've started doing it. I don't even like Worcestershire, and I've started doing that.
It works so good because it gives it some flavor, but it helps the outside color. When you're smoking something at low heat, we're not getting a hard Maillard reaction on it, and so it helps it with like a browning agent almost.
Yeah.
That's why I like it too. I like the taste of Worcestershire, but I don't want it heavy. You know what I mean?
See, I like the Worcestershire for the color and a little bit of the taste, but if I'm a Moors guy.
You like that?
Yeah, I like it a little bit stronger, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Moors is stronger.
It's got a lot more salt.
Yeah. I'm
it's got a little.
addict.
It's got a little of that liquidy smoke flavor too in it.
Yeah.
Worcestershire don't have.
I hate that liquidy smoke flavor.
I can't do too much of it. I can do a little. But I like on the Moors and the Dells, they have like a low sodium version. I like using those because I like adding my own
The
salt.
Legros is good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Legros makes it good.
is.
Yeah.
Anything with that caramel color, if you
That's
see
what it is. It's helping that browning effect.
I mean, I've even used old kitchen bouquet. It'll put color on something real good.
Yeah.
Do you think
So steak contest trick there.
Do you think there's some sort of that same kitchen bouquet essence in Worcestershire and things like that?
Which I know on Worcestershire, they got a thing that says just caramel color on the
That's
ingredients.
what gives it that darkness. It's got a lot of soy sauce in it. It's got, that I guess from the anchovy paste or whatever else is in it that gives it that flavor and
That good fishiness.
raisin. Is it raisins that's in makes Worcestershire have it the flavor it does?
I thought that was steak.
Tamarind, I think it's called, or something like that. It's a raisiny flavor. That's what gives it. That.
You also cooked mushrooms alongside this one.
Yes. So once we got it seasoned up, we tucked a few sprigs of rosemary on top. Looked kind of fancy. Put it on the pit.
So what is the point of the rosemary, real quick? Does it actually affect it, or is it just?
No, I would. It's just. You can get some essence of, but it ain't going to overpower it or anything. It looks kind of cool,
It does make pretty pictures.
I like when you take it off and it kind of gets on the board, mixes with some of the juices, and you dab the meat in it, and you get a little bit of that roasted rosemary flavor. Rosemary, it's one of those things. Get a little strong on you.
A little's great, a lot's bad.
Yeah, lots bad. But a little's really good.
And see, I like using it, like, if you're going to do like a smaller loin, use the rosemary as your basting brush, something like that. I think you get the oils out of it.
Man, I didn't think we could have done that. We could have just used some sprigs of rosemary and dipped off in there. But so we've got a local, would you call Como local? It's pretty local to us.
Yeah, it's very local.
It's an old school, old fashioned. I don't know how many years it's been there. Probably
A while.
Yeah, as long as I can remember. Probably longer than I've been alive. But it's an old school steakhouse. You get a steak. You go in, you order one of their steaks. The salad, the baked potato comes with it. It's been that way since they opened. There's 2 grills inside the middle of the restaurant, and they're cooking those steaks. Everybody's right there in the middle of everybody. And they do it the old school way. It's got like a Worcestershire-based marinade on it that they sprinkle on it, and Willingham's Wham seasoning. That's all it is. But they do a side dish of mushrooms, and I call them steakhouse mushrooms. And that's pretty much what it was like. I don't know what their recipe is, but if I was going to be at Como, that's how I'd cook them. It's like butter, Worcestershire,
Red
wine, a little beef broth, little rosemary in them, and a little bit of prime beef,
Shallot.
and garlic. That's it. And I just mix it up, put it all in a pan, dump all that in there and put it right beside that prime rib, and it's kind of blocking it a little on
That
on
worked
the pit.
really well.
It shields it a little, but as all that comes together and your juice, the mushroom jus starts rendering down and reducing, it concentrates those flavors, and we dip that and baste it over the top of the prime rib to add some moisture to it. So you're getting some flavor and you're keeping it from drying out, and those mushrooms are absolutely phenomenal.
And I don't think too. Everybody's like, oh, like I seen once. I can't remember who it was. I cooked mushrooms one time. Like, man, you're overcooking your mushrooms. I don't think you can overcook a mushroom.
I didn't know what.
Because I mean, you look at the ones at Como, they are teeny tiny.
yeah.
They've been cooking.
You can
for
put them on a
hours.
little toothpick, just a little bite, and
That's what I like.
Oh man, they're so good.
The more you cook them, the more flavor they get.
Yeah,
I like it when they're cooked down like that.
They're just burst with flavor when you.
I don't
bite 'em.
want it half raw. I mean, I want that
Yeah.
mushroom. It's like a sponge. It soaks up all that flavor. That's all it is a vessel to hold all that goodness we bathed it in.
That's right.
That's all it is.
No, last
Mushroom
year
had no flavor really. That one does.
for a Christmas party, I done kind of like you did. I sauteed some onions and stuff like that and garlic, and I put them in a crock pot and just dumped 4 or 5 things of mushrooms in there and cut it on low and let it go all day. Man, it was so good.
You know, that's what I mean. That was my old brisket.
Yeah,
My
you're the one that
brisket
taught me that.
in brisket sauce. I always did a mushroom reduction like that and then drained it all
It was-
$300
it
worth
was
of
a
ingredients
process,
to make
yeah.
that, and that's what went in. About
was
12
your
ounces
wrap,
of that
wasn't
went
it?
in my wrap liquid. Yeah,
It was so good. That
was
that sauce
rich.
was really, really good.
yeah.
And you would drain the mushrooms after you were done at the very end to get the sauce. And I would always tell you how good the brisket was going to be based on
How good the mushrooms
the
turned
mushrooms
out.
were. Because that was usually dinner on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Just mushrooms.
That was the
When you
one
get
thing I
to
can
go to
ever
the
remember
contest.
of me or you, either one, physically measuring and timing was
that-
making that.
Yeah.
Everything
I-
else, it'd be like, oh, that looks good. 10 minutes, okay. That was like, all right, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Stir clockwise.
Yeah. Reduce it for 10 more now.
And if you didn't do it just right,
Oh.
you'd get
The one time I helped him get stuff together, he's like, go over there and stir that. I'm like, I'm on the way now.
He
But-
got into a fight with I wouldn't say a fight. He got heated argument with a for real chef who was trying to tell him that
I'm
that's not
putting
the
my
way
stuff in wrong for my mushroom reduction. I should have put, what did he say I should have done?
gloves came off. Then we're fighting words.
The beef broth and all that stuff should have went in there before I sauteed put the
yeah.
vegetables. I was like, man, this is how I do it. I saute them first and then add all my wet.
Now, I have done something different cooking, like sauteed mushrooms,
Yeah.
is not putting anything on them till they're cooked. So,
Really?
like, don't put
Seasoning wise or
nothing. No
butter,
oil,
no
no
nothing.
butter, no nothing in the skillet. Put the mushrooms in, let them cook that water out. Soon as the water comes out, then add them.
your butter and everything?
Mm-hmm. And it seems, I like it.
Yeah.
It's a different texture, but it does really well.
Yeah.
I could see that because you're able to concentrate those flavors better
Well,
without that
You can take salt and put it on a mushroom, and it'll start sweating right then.
Yeah.
You know, so cook the water out, then put the salt on it, or your butter, or your flavor.
They have a ton of moisture in them.
Yeah,
they do.
But we cooked that prime rib. It took about 2 hours, 45 minutes.
It took
maybe?
longer than we thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Do you think that was because of the fat content?
I think
Does that affect
Yeah,
cook
probably.
time?
I mean, I don't know. I never cooked one, so I know a regular prime rib usually cooks 2 to 2.5 hours.
I
We
think we
weren't
were
much
just
longer.
babying it so
Yeah.
much.
We were in it basting a lot.
And you use that mushroom juice for
Yeah,
base.
yeah. That's
Which
just
is a
the
great
pan set
idea.
right beside it. And we knew we wanted 120, no more. We wanted it to be that pretty reddish pink all the way across it. I mean, that was where we want. We didn't want to overcook it. And from end to end, that dude was on the money.
It was even.
Yeah.
I was very pleased with the cook. Something we didn't think about, and we talked about it afterwards, is that on something like that that's marbled up as much, it doesn't get as red. You know, it's not. It has so much more fat in it. You don't have the
Yeah,
color
yeah,
pigment in there to be red.
That's true.
That's right where I would have wanted it.
But it was
I
perfect.
mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's for me. God, that's it. It was melting in your mouth. You might have saw some blood. I mean, it ain't really blood. It's just meat
It was
juice.
delicious.
Yeah. What do they call it? Myoglobin? It's not blood. It's
Yeah.
just meat juice.
Oh, give me some toast.
I don't
Man.
care.
Oh.
Yeah.
I want to run some bread through that.
When it sat there and the juices, you could just see them pouring out, and they get on the board, and you run the meat back through it. You could get sick off that stuff. It was that good, that rich. Do you think you could have ate a 16-ounce
No.
portion of it?
I barely could eat what we ate on camera. I mean, it was rich.
I could have.
How
I know I could have. I might have hurt for
You
a day
would
after.
have regretted it, but you
yeah,
could've.
I did. I went home and ate a monster piece.
So what me and Emily did, so y'all left part of that at the house. We
Yeah.
put it in the fridge, got it chilled. Well, like 2 nights later, I was like, man, I'm going to do something with this. So I got out and took beef broth, Worcestershire, onions. I think she may have put cream of mushroom and made like a hot jus. And I got over there, and while that prime rib was cold, sliced it paper thin and just took a bowl that was preheated and poured that hot jus over it just to reheat it and pull it out and put it on a sandwich with cheese sauce. Oh my!
Just warmed
goodness.
it in that. Oh,
That's a
man.
good
Did not
idea.
reheat it at all. Just the hot, straight out of the boiling water. It was so good.
Did it cook it any more? Any
It
additional?
just warmed it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is finna be good. And she had some little hoagie rolls, put old schmear mayonnaise and horseradish. It was a good bite.
And we did serve it with some horseradish cream sauce too. That's so
staple.
good. Prime rib, you got to have horseradish.
Ours is in the freezer.
We got some. We still have some more. Yeah.
We ate a good bit of it. I
too.
used some of it for that, and I think one morning we done steak and eggs. I used it, and I don't know if it's. I don't think it's none left.
So
Have to get some more.
could you have used that method on a regular prime rib?
Oh yeah.
On any pit you have?
Temperature, you hold it the same. You watch your internal temperature. You can season it the exact same way. Make the mushrooms and baste it. I mean, you could just go get a regular old piece of prime rib from Kroger or from Sam's.
See now,
Walmart even has them. I saw one the other day in Walmart, like a little quarter roast.
so when it comes to like
It wasn't
normal,
cheap either. It was
wasn't cheap.
$75 for that little piece.
Yeah.
You know?
like usually I'm a strip loin guy when it comes to cooking it whole. I want to do an A9 strip loin now.
Ooh. Is he? Yeah, he gets the
I
A9
think
strips too, don't he?
Why do you like the strip loin?
Just because a lot of times to me, this is my personal opinion again, like a ribeye prime rib, there's so much fat in there that you can't really render as much as you want. With the strip loin, it's a little bit leaner, but I think if you get the A9, you're going to get that good fat, and there's no cap on it. So a lot of times on that chuck end, you'll have that big chunk of just fat that is just chewy, which I still like. It's great in some hot au jus, but I just like a strip loin. I don't like a New York strip steak. I much rather have a ribeye.
You know, that kind of goes back to y'all's theory that the A9 shines at lesser cuts, you know. Which
Yeah.
I don't know if the strip
And I
loin
think
would be
like-
a lesser cut, but
You
yeah.
can just do the chuck roaster. Awesome. I mean, I've got that from Kevin before. Those A9 chuck roasts are amazing.
But I think, like you say, a strip loin, A9, you get the texture that you want, but you might get a little bit more beefy flavor on that strip than you will a ribeye.
But that technique's solid. Like on anything you want to do, like a prime rib preparation.
Season, smoke, and just
Season, smoke, watch internal.
And I
Take it
think,
off when
too-
it gets to 120.
Just allow plenty of time. Don't push it. Don't rush it, and rest it. You know, you can hold that dude.
Biggest thing is get a thermometer you can trust.
Yeah.
You get. I mean, what we used was a Thermworks Dot. It wasn't nothing fancy. It's not an expensive thermometer, but you can trust them.
You can get them on sale for $35-$40.
I'm probably going to do another one.
Christmas, I mean, I won't do. I'll do a prime rib, but
You're-
normally I do the
You do a beef
beef tenderloin
tenderloin.
for
Yeah.
Christmas. Same way. I do them the same way.
That's
I
on-
buy the whole Pismo, trim it out myself in the cravat bag, save the tail meat and all that. That's good stuff. We make fajitas
stir
with
fry,
it or stir fry, and then I get the center part of that tenderloin and
That got
do it
me.
up.
The way
Tie it
you-
the same way.
When you cook it and you slice it, and it's not bloody or anything, but it's like pink from
Red,
top
red,
to bottom. Yeah,
yeah.
it's.
You
want
want to collab on a A9 beef loin, whole filet?
Hey,
Ooh.
that'd be a good one too.
You might have to come over to my channel for that one. We might have to do that. Tyler, get ready to film that this couple weeks.
Well, speaking of that, so y'all have done prime rib. You've both done prime rib a lot of different
There's
ways.
a bunch of them.
What's your favorite way to cook a prime rib? Mark, you
Probably one of my favorites. I done a butter crusted. I made like a butter paste and put all my herbs, salt, pepper, and like kind of had it at room temp and just coated the outside of it. Of course, when all the butter melted off, it basted it the whole time, and then all those herbs you put on it just set where they were supposed to,
really?
and it was good. That was a strip loin that time, but that one was probably one of my favorites because I put a pan underneath it with mushrooms. It dripped in the mushrooms. That was part of the recipe too.
How
and
good were those mushrooms?
Very, very good. That's the ones the guy said I burn up. That
Oh,
you overcooked the mushrooms. All right, man.
several people said y'all were showing off by cooking that prime rib.
I was enjoying myself. I don't know about
I was
showing
like,
off.
Heck yeah, we were showing off.
Showing off that $700 we
Yeah.
of delicious beef.
That's one thing I cannot figure out about all like cooking and stuff. It gets some butthurt people in this world over just people trying to eat good. Like, I mean, just trying to have a good time.
You're not catching
Why
flack.
don't you
Not
cook
over the
ground
target.
beef? Yeah. Can't make them all happy.
You've sous vide a prime rib
I
before,
have.
haven't you?
I'd probably got a keyboard cook mad too. But
How long did you do that?
24 hours.
How big of
At
a
about
prime rib?
135 or?
Yeah, I think I've done 131. So if I'm going over 4 hours, I've said this before, I'm going to go just a bump over 130 just because you're supposed to. If you're under 4 hours, you can go less. But if you're over 4, I done 131. And I think it went for about 24 hours, and got it done, got it out of there, seasoned it again. That's the only thing you got to watch. If you're going to sous vide one, you have to put the seasoning to it. I don't know what it does in that water bath, but
Before you goes in the water bath or when it comes out?
I season it before, and then
after?
when it comes out, I season it again just like normal. So I done that, and that was probably about a 14-pound. It's pretty decent. It wasn't the
Did
biggest.
you let it like completely cool before you finish it?
A
Or
good
you
bit.
just-
I let it rest for probably about 2 or 3 hours. So it dropped below 100, and then I put it back on the coals, pulled the grates off the PK where it was just a wire grate, and just crusted it up real good. It
So you didn't worry about the internal after that?
no, never look at it again.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. I mean, it was crusted up, medium rare through and through. So
How long does it take to get that crust on the outside?
no, couple minutes.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
You
it's
just gotta
literally
roll it.
yeah.
Just rolling it.
I got carried away. I think I put 2 chimneys of coal on the PK, so
Got a little hot.
Screaming.
it was hot. But
You had the idea, or you think you're probably going to do it for holidays coming up, rotisserie one. Right?
I've always wanted to cook one that way, and I've seen a couple of guys do it on YouTube, and I'm just like, man, that looks amazing. I mean, yes, you get the whole hole through the middle of it, but I'm sorry, that old butter crust that done caramelized on the outside, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Did you see? This is kind of off topic, but Nick Singfield, he rotisserized a whole turkey.
I know it looked
It looked
good
good,
too.
too.
Really good.
He did it on Weber. What was that, a Weber he did it on?
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Tyler vouched old rotisserie chicken on the S&S kettle.
Hard to beat.
Mm.
Well, the chicken, you don't have to worry about the internal, something going through the middle of
Yeah.
it.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do definitely one more prime rib recipe before Christmas. Gonna do a beef loin. I got something special that I'm so excited for, and it is not even that amazing, but I'm so fun. This is gonna be a fun recipe. I'm
Well-
ready.
Are you going to tell or?
We'll just call it a Christmas chub.
The old Christmas chub. I'm betting it's
Something.
Processed meat.
process. It's definitely a process.
And it's gonna be delicious.
What's your favorite way to cook a prime rib out?
You're not gonna beat what we just did. I mean, I do like using the fresh herbs and pieces of minced garlic and having all that to where it cooks down and makes a hearty, really good crunchy
Yeah,
crust on
that
the
is good.
outside. But just keeping it simple and not overcooking it, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, I've done them bone in; they're good bone in. You get a little, I think you get a little more flavor
I like it.
on the bone. I like cutting it off the bone and then tying it back on the bone to cook it, so you get some of that effect, and then eating that bone when I get through, because you take it off and slice it, then you got this delicious bone with all that meat too.
That bone is.
It's really good.
Where-
I mean,
I got us some marrow bones coming.
do you, man?
I
I'm
do.
excited about that. That's something I've ate them, but I've never cooked them
We're gonna try it.
at home. I've always had them in a
I don't think it's that
restaurant.
difficult. Like I think
No,
it's a
you put
fast
salt
cook.
on them and just put them on there and let it cook till it all
Are they
melts
already
and dissolves.
split?
Mhm.
Put it on that old outlaw and let it gin till
right.
it till
Put it on microwave
melts. Yeah, it won't take long at all. Roast some bones. Be real good.
Microwave
One
that.
thing I really like doing with prime rib is that U-bond sandwich on the
Oh,
onion
yeah.
roll.
The perfect sandwich.
Perfect sandwich. Man, it's so good.
Pickled red onions.
Yeah.
What
With
is
the spicy mayo on
Yeah.
an onion roll?
what they use for their like sauce for that sandwich is what inspired our creamy
Yeah,
horseradish sauce.
it is.
We kind of took what they did and put our twist on
Mm-hmm.
it.
And that's something too, like I've noticed that cooking with y'all, especially watching you make your horseradish sauce. There's so many versions. You would think a horseradish sauce is horseradish sauce.
Yeah.
There's so many versions out there, and I love them all, but like I've never had one taste the same from anybody.
Yeah.
Have
You
that
know?
blue plate. Gotta have that blue plate. It's the key. Original recipe.
Yeah. Mine's blue plate. But then I use the prepared horseradish and that creamy horseradish sauce, and a little hot sauce and salt, pepper. I usually just grab TX.
See, I'm a sour cream guy.
You want sour cream
Well, I
in
do.
replace of the mayonnaise?
I'll put a little mayonnaise, and if you don't have mayonnaise, put a little bit of honey or sugar.
That's usually like when you go to some place that's having a prime rib dinner or something, they give you that bowl.
See, I'll do
usually a sour cream based horseradish.
which you're kind of ending up.
You like the fresh grated
So,
horseradish?
no, I'll do prepared horseradish, but a trick I learned, and I read it in a recipe, so I can't take credit for it. But I'll measure my horseradish out, and then put it on paper towels and pat it down and get all that water out of it.
Good idea.
And that way you don't have that runniness.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I'll do sour cream, prepared horseradish, a little splash of vinegar, hot sauce, and chives, salt and pepper. And I love the chives in it.
I've never put chives in it.
It's good.
Have you ever done a horseradish in the coating that you cook it on? That's something I've never done either.
I was scared.
That's
I was scared to get bitter on you.
Yeah, and I like the option of this bite doesn't have horseradish.
Oh.
This bite I can dip it in. It does.
Well, have you ever studded one with garlic, like whole cloves of garlic?
No, the only thing I've done that would be similar, I guess, somewhat the closest thing to that is I use all coarse ingredients on one.
Yeah.
So I use the big rock salt. I use the onion flake, the garlic flake, big pepper, and made it put an excellent crust. And I basted it as well to kind of rehydrate all them dried seasonings, and it done good. Yep.
It sounds good. I'm ready for some prime rib
I
now.
started thinking about
Started you happy daydreaming. I was like, man, what's that taste like? Christ. Oh man.
I don't think there's a
No, that's good.
bad way to do it. I mean, I've had
As long as
some.
you don't overcook it.
Yeah, just the biggest thing. Don't
Don't
overcook
overcook it. Yeah. The only ones I've ever messed up is overcooked some.
Yep.
The one that
And it's still good.
They're pretty good, yeah. It just
one of the top ones
overcooked.
I've had that I thought this is not fixing to be good. Like I was like, this is. I don't know if I want this. A guy beside us, we were at a contest, and I don't forgot where we were even at. He took, and it was like a half prime rib. He put AP on it. I was like, all right, you're starting off on the right foot, you know. But he put the Hoover sauce on the outside and like glazed it, and I was like,
I like that Hoover sauce.
I don't know. Well, he sliced it. He served it on a piece of little toasted bread. Had a pretty decent sized slice, perfect medium rare cook, sprinkled salt on it, and had melted cheddar cheese right on top of it. And I was like, it was like it's a pretty good bite.
Could
like,
you even taste that Hoover sauce? Or
No, it was just a touch of sweet that
yeah.
it mellowed out
That's
with
what
the
it
cheese,
does.
you know.
Yeah.
But it was a good bite. Like I'd eat that again.
A Fireman John's sauce is a lot like that Hoover sauce.
It
gives
is.
it gives it that same flavor.
It's got that touch of sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the big cuts? All right, you got your strip loin, you got your prime rib. Of course, you can do
Tenderloin.
the tenderloin. Is there any other roast cuts? I mean,
You could do a chuck roll like that. You could do,
But it,
um,
is the chuck roll?
if you
mean,
got the chuck roll, I
yeah.
think it would do it. You couldn't do it with the chuck roast,
no, you'd
But a
you'd have
chuck
to,
roll.
You'd have to have that eye roll.
which is basically ribeye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that picanha, you could do it that way. Man, that picanha is so good.
See, I don't get the same satisfaction. I mean, it's
So you like
good,
prime rib.
but a prime rib and a picanha to me is not in the same.
To me, the picanha has that fat, and it's almost like a brisket fat flavor. It's a different type of fat.
Different texture back there.
And it is.
It's still great. I mean, it's
That's good.
delicious.
Yeah.
You can do a whole sirloin. That's a
Oh,
big piece of meat.
A9.
A9 sirloin.
Again, lesser cuts. Let's try it.
Yeah. That'd be a good one to do.
So what are you cooking for your Christmas dinner?
I'm leaning toward whole hog.
Ooh,
What?
I am.
for
Daddy,
Christmas?
Daddy has been wanting to cook a whole hog forever now. And before my mother passed, that was one of her requests, is she wanted a whole hog at Christmas. So I feel like we
gotta
should
do
do a
it.
whole
Whole
hog.
hog. Yeah, you got to then.
That'd be a
And
good time to do
A
it.
good time to do one.
Yeah.
won't be hot. Won't have to battle flies. I mean, I wouldn't do no big one. I'd try, call a
100
local
pound?
farm somewhere and do a 100-pound one and just cook it,
Yeah.
because that's a lot of meat.
Eating hog.
Yeah. Keep it simple. Throw it on the BFO. Let it ride.
I'm definitely cooking tenderloin. I like to do pork loin and beef tenderloin. That's usually the two roasts that I like to cook for Christmas, and then we have finger type food to go with it. It doesn't usually. It's not like a sit down dinner. That's why I like those.
Well,
I mean, you can
yeah,
do
sometimes
carrots,
we do
and
it.
Brussels sprouts, and all that good stuff to go with it.
Oh, some bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts with some balsamic
Have you
vinegar.
ever done the whole Brussels sprouts where it's on the stalk?
Yeah.
Man, those look good. I've never done them. But
I mean, you still pull them off, but
yeah,
they
you
are
see-
good.
yeah.
It's a weird looking vegetable when it comes.
It comes out. It's all brown.
I'm like, Emily bought one. I'm like, you got a tree. Like, what is this? But they're good. I'm sure we'll do. Christmas is, I like the beef.
Yeah, it's a multi. You usually have multiple events at Christmas
Yeah.
time. that
You
we're
got to have a
looking
good
for.
Christmas breakfast. Have to.
Oh, yeah. We always have shell cinnamon rolls and breakfast casserole.
And both
We're going to
recipes
incorporate the
on
melted cheese
Melted
this
cheese.
year. Melted cheese will be on our Christmas recipes.
Waylon got so, he was like,
He's probably stopped up for a week.
he ate half
Love
that
the melted
pan.
cheese. He
Well,
never
what's
had
the melted cheese? Explain that one.
Melted cheese.
melted cheese in the oven in a skillet?
What kind of cheese?
Could be any kind.
Yeah. So
Colby Jack.
I-
We had.
I never really knew. I thought this was like, I thought everybody done it. Like growing up, I was like, this is normal breakfast
Yeah.
meal. And then like once I got old enough to like go to other people's houses, they're like, you're doing what? I'm like, are we having melted cheese?
Melted pan of cheese. You know how
No,
much cheese
where's the
dip?
pan of
Like
cheese?
Rotel cheese dip?
Yeah.
It's got Rotel in it, right?
No. But
it's just
so
cheese. What do you
Christmas
mean?
morning, we always did melted cheese, and Mama and Daddy would buy like the big 1.5 2-pound block of cheese. It could be cheddar, it could be Colby Jack, it could be whatever,
In any brand?
any brand. It didn't
Yeah.
matter. Cut
It's
it
a
up,
match.
put it in your 9x13 casserole dish. You got to have one more for your melted cheese.
You just cube it? Or,
Yeah. Cube it, it don't matter.
yeah.
Yeah, you're melting
You just
it anyway.
the big thing is use a block cheese. Don't use a processed cheese.
Yeah,
don't
'cause it's got
use
starch
shredded.
and all that. Yeah.
And just put it in the oven, let it go. And when it starts getting good and melty and kind of bubbly around the edges, pull it out. It's the best thing ever on a biscuit. Like you just spoon it out and it's just
Running everywhere like
Man.
you would
Do
imagine.
you ever put it on toast? I think it would be good on toast.
Yeah, you
It's
can
good
put
on
it
anything.
You can put it on anything.
now my grandmother will eat it with sugar. And I know that sounds crazy, but she'll cut once it cools off, like you can cut it kind of like a pizza and it's still warm and soft, and she'll sprinkle sugar on top of her melted cheese. And it's
Did I
a
put
sweet
that
and
on a
savory.
biscuit?
Well,
Or
I was thinking about adding jelly to it. You know,
Yeah.
biscuit
I mean, it's-
jelly cheese.
I mean, you eat brie and jelly, so
Yeah.
yeah.
ain't no difference.
Oh, that's right.
But you
Did
got to
you
have
see
your
that?
melted cheese.
Huh.
It's a staple.
I'm gonna blow my family's mind
There you
this
go.
year.
That would think. Melted cheese.
Look, I
Have you
cooked
done it
it.
in an iron skillet or is it always a or casserole dish? Or
You can do. I mean, you can. Like I forgot where we was at. We were somewhere and I didn't have access to oven. I just put it in a skillet and turned it on low heat and cooked it on the stovetop,
But
and
it
it
did
does
the same
just
thing.
as fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to take your
Melted
time.
cheese.
Yeah, put a lid on it.
You do it
You're
in the
good to go.
microwave? You never done it in the microwave, have you?
I mean, if,
Air fried it.
worst case, as long as you melt it.
Smelted cheese.
But I'll never forget. That was hilarious. I got done cooking breakfast at deer camp, had everything laid out. Everybody's going through the line, and nobody said anything. Like I've had melted
I
cheese.
had it because I knew what it was. You
Like it was no surprise. Waylon gets to the line. He's like,
what's that?
"What is this?" And I was like, "Melted cheese." He's like, "For what?" And I'm like, "You eat it. Like you just eat it." He's like, "You eat it on what?" I'm like, "Put it in." Malcolm's like, "You got to put it on your biscuit. You put it on your deer meat. You put it on this."
Eggs. It goes on everything.
And we got done, and like we'd all get done eating. I looked, Waylon's over with his knife.
Getting that cheese.
What are you doing? He's like, "I'm gonna finish the rest of this cheese." And I was like, "We plugged up."
He loved it. He loved it. It's good. It's real good.
It don't taste like cheese no more.
It
I mean,
can-
it does, but it's different.
It's cheese on another level. It's smelted.
When I do that and call it chicken spaghetti, y'all make fun of me.
No, you can't. It's not the same.
No. Chicken spaghetti spaghetti noodles is not supposed to be with cheese.
Oh,
I said it.
Oh, you think so?
I love it.
Well, that's about all the time we have today.
Well, hey, that was a fun one, Mark. I
Was
appreciate
it
you.
quick?
I do have a
Appreciate
question
you
for
letting us come over to your house
Yeah,
and do that recipe. And we're definitely gonna have to do one again.
Oh, coming soon.
I do have a question. I had an extra sheet of the little ham biscuits. Did y'all eat that at dinner?
Yes,
Oh, I did not get that. Where was that?
I'm pretty sure we cooked them.
I
No, they were in there wrapped up in full individually. Because I wrapped.
Oh,
them
you wrapped me
individually.
one up. That's right.
Yeah. Did you eat one?
No, I put it back in the fridge and got cheese.
Yeah. And turkey.
I did not know.
No, I
that's what it
I
was.
cooked the macaroni and cheese pan. We had the Jergens cake. We had the,
Jergens cake. I love that.
we had that little ham biscuits.
That is.
We had it all. We had it all. I'll let you take the pecan pie home. We ate the rest of the turkey. I mean, we ate good at deer camp. We had gravy every meal.
Every meal.
Every meal we had gravy. We probably went through 3 dozen eggs. I don't know how many pounds of sausage.
I cooked a dozen scrambled eggs and they were gone.
Yeah, gone. I don't know how many cans of biscuits we went through.
How many of that was it?
8 or 9.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't like we just 2 guys.
Wasn't 8 or 9 there.
How many
like
was
4.
it? There wasn't no empty beds. People were sleeping on the couch.
We blame it on the kids. Mike and Will ate all of it. Him and Gage, they put away some groceries.
There was 3 kids and 1, 2, 3.
They're not really kids. They're
5
growing
adults.
boys.
Oh, they could eat as much as a grown man.
Yeah.
All 3 of them.
It was a good time though.
There's 8 of us.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to do this podcast and recap this Wagyu Prime Rib.
It was
That's
a good
right.
time.
How do you
Can't
say
wait to do
Wagyu?
this. Wagyu.
How are you supposed to say it?
I don't know. You're asking the most mush mouth guy at the table.
Sometimes I say Wagyu. Sometimes I say
I
Wagyu.
think it's supposed to be Wagyu.
I mean, I misspelled it in a thumbnail and it rode for like 3 months before I noticed it.
Wagyu.
I've done that before.
Maybe it's Wagyu. I don't know.
Wagyu.
Tomato. It don't
It's all
matter.
the same. It's
all
good.
as long as you call it when you're cooking it.
Yep. That's right.
Well, Tyler, what all do we need to know?
Make sure you download Malcolm's favorite app with all of his favorite recipes.
that's
It's
right.
the How to Barbecue Right app. It's available on the Google Play Store and
Get that.
Apple iOS Store. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button on the channel if you are watching this on YouTube. And thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah, and Shell, where can they find us? And Mark, you didn't tell them where they can find you, man.
where
I
can
wasn't
they
going to
find
take the show.
Go for it.
Y'all can find us Swine Life BBQ. As always, all the social platforms. We're always looking for ideas. Y'all got anything to let us know or any
You're doing
questions?
TikTok now.
We're
got YouTube
we're
videos,
getting our
got
toes wet in TikTok.
Yeah.
Stick around for some more holiday recipes.
Oh, yeah.
Swine
We got about
Life
3 more coming out this year.
I probably got 1 more. That'd be about it for me.
Yeah.
I got a maple glazed ham that's kind of in the works. Some real Vermont maple syrup. Changed my life. We ate some of
It
that at
really
deer
did.
camp. We had
If you
pancakes.
would, if you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok.
And go Rebels. Hope they're going to the Sugar Bowl this year. Defending Egg Bowl champions. We'll see y'all next time. We gone.